So let's talk about spending money on things, since that also seems to be the topic about the submarine thing. Now, if I was a billionaire, I would spend money on going to outer space, on like a trip to outer space. That's like my thing. I love space. I love looking at the stars. I love looking at the moon. And that would be my thing, just a trip, either around the earth or just, going out, maybe seeing the moon or whatnot, then coming back. That would be my thing, you know. Although I will admit I'd have to make sure that the craft was usable, safe, and I know a lot of that was not done. But that's what I would spend money on. And that same, knowing that for me, well, that money could have been spent on the homeless, feeding the poor. That money could have been spent to, schools, education, whatever. Okay, fine. What if I spent money on that, but spent the same amount that I spent on that trip and used it towards those? I'd still get yelled at. I'd still be bitched at. How the necklaces I'm wearing, I could have bought a meal. I could have donated the money that I bought my necklaces for, even my rings. But Brandy, it's $250,000. That's a lot of money. Yeah, it is a lot of money. I admit that. That's a lot of money. And even with some of us that are religious, we spend a lot of money on religious items for spell work, for prayer, for blessings. We spend a lot of money on us, like a chalice and a theme, candle holders, even statues, gemstones, when that money could have also gone to the homeless, to education, things like that, Let me tell you a story, and it's true. You can look it up. I want you to look up Touchdown Jesus in Monroe, Ohio. Touchdown Jesus in Monroe, Ohio. This horrendous monstrosity was built in 2004, okay? And it was like the chest up of Jesus with his hands held up high, and it was huge, by Solid Rock Church. It was huge. It cost $250,000. At least that's what they say. I think it cost more. But $250,000 to build this monstrosity. And plus they had this huge billboard, lighted billboard, that and I had to see this thing all the time when I went to work in Mason. Because I had to take the highway. It was on I-75. I had to take the highway back and forth. And at night, you see this bright-ass billboard, along with Touchdown Jesus. And this is at Solid Rock Church. But they spent $250,000 on this statue. It could have went towards homeless. It could have went towards education. It could have paid for a lot of meals. Plus, I don't really want to get into it. There were a lot of politics. There were a lot of gossip about the church and the founding people of the church. But I won't get into that. I'll let you decide if you want to research this. But yeah, $250,000. At least that's what they claimed in 2004 to build this horrible, huge ass monstrosity. And it was huge. Okay? Like I said, you can look it up and you'll see it. But in 2010, lightning struck it, so it caught on fire. And they estimated that the damage done to Touchdown Jesus, now you gotta remember it was built in 2004, it cost $250,000, they say, to build this thing. In 2010, it got hit by lightning, caught on fire, and they said that the estimated damages for this was between $300,000 to $400,000. Okay, so the value of it went up, apparently. So what did they do? They built another Jesus statue. This time, I think it's full length, from the feet to the head instead of just from the chest up. But I believe it's, and I don't know how much that one costs. I didn't look that up. Because that's also money they could have spent on the homeless, on feeding the poor, education, things like that. But we buy things for ourselves. We're selfish at times. Sometimes we're selfish all the time. We don't think about other people. We don't think about how much $22 on a necklace, how that feeds a child or how that feeds a family. No, we spend $22 because we think that necklace is pretty and it looks good on us and we're going to get it. We don't even take the double the amount, like an extra $22, just to say, well, I'm buying this for me, but I'm going to buy this for the homeless. We don't do that. Because technically we don't have the funds to do it. We don't have the extra cash to do it. So I'm not saying it's bad to do something selfish. I mean, come on. It's nice to buy our own selves a gift or something that we appreciate or something that, may help us in our practices, okay? But to judge people for doing it when we do the same thing, even though I know $250,000, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, especially for doing something that really you should actually know what you're getting yourself into. I get that. I understand that. But also, these are people. These are souls. Regardless of how much money they spent, what they did, what they didn't do, these are souls. These are people, living beings. Now, what if you had the money, you did the same thing that they were doing, something that you wanted to do, and you come to find out that what you were told was not true, that it wasn't safe? That's something to consider.